let's talk SEMA real quick.
Okay.
Wanted to let everybody know, and this is part of our news segment, guys, that we always live. It's part of our news segment that we always like to kind of get into some interesting stories for you guys. We have a few, but we also, not that they're interesting or interesting, however you would like to pronounce that. Stories, it more or less informative for our industry, and Keith and I go through and we'll pick news topics and agree on them. And we felt that right now it's appropriate because we are big fans of SEMA. It's one of our favorite things to do every year. It's going to be happening November 1 through 4 this year in Las Vegas at the convention center, Las Vegas Convention Center.
No, wait a minute. I have an important point of clarification here.
Okay.
Because you said something to me, and I listened. I sometimes do that, and you said you're gonna have to get there on Halloween.
Yeah.
And so the actual first day of the show
is November 1.
Okay. Wasn't that the same as last year? Or was it like the second? It was the second. Yeah, it was the second.
It was the second. Yeah,
so
or something like that,
they do the kickoff the night before, which will be Halloween, and we typically get in you kind of have to, like, you don't want to be coming in the morning of the first day of the show, getting off a plane and trying to get all not as media.
Right.
You got to get all your stuff set up. You got to line up what stories you're going to do, where you're going to go, and all that. So we will be there on Halloween.
Yes,
right?
we will. We will be.
I think we need to figure out, because this is a once every 6 years, because you got leap year in there, right? Once every 6 years thing.
Right.
Halloween.
Correct.
Happens right while we're in Vegas. We have got to do something like live stream or.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And I was going to make a mention to you when we have our business meeting on this, which, by the way, everybody, welcome into our world and our conversation here that we're currently having on our podcast, which is known as The Counter Show. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much. We're growing exponentially. If you aren't subscribed and you just happen to, stumble upon us, thank you for listening, and please subscribe. But we go to Vegas every year and we have these fun things. So I think as part of our next agenda, our meeting, we should focus on what day we're going to get in. My recommendation is we get in the day before we normally do, so that we can work through all of the bugs. That way we're set in place on Halloween.
Yeah, I got to get the the costume out of the costume vault, and that takes
I say we go as some Star Wars.
Rick and Morty. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. You guys, I want to hear some comments. Now it's
What should Keith and Jay dress up as in costume
for Halloween? Right.
For Halloween in Las Vegas.
So okay, but you were about to make a point about I stopped you at the show starts November 1st. Okay.
Starts November 1, and we will be there. We're excited about it, and what we do know is that they have already started to take registrations from exhibitors as well as media personnel, and we are going to be signing up for that again, getting our credentials and getting ready for that show. So stay tuned, everybody, as information becomes available of who might be showing up, what exciting things might be there. But it's SEMA time in Vegas, guys, and we're going to continue to bring you the information as it comes. And what we turned up, though, here's what's interesting about this particular piece of news. You found this, I think, or did I find it? You found it, I believe. Apparently, Ford and Honda, as it was reported, and you're right, the headline for this story is just really kind of deceiving.
Well, it was basically like Ford's pulled out of SEMA or something like that.
And
right?
Honda and Ford.
And
two big
it was
players.
Like, come on, man. I mean, I know it's clickbait, but that's a big deal. So,
right.
So, okay, everybody, let me frame this for you. It would be easier if you go back and you watch we have a SEMA playlist. It's at the end of every video that we've released in the past 3 months is that SEMA playlist. Mm-hmm. You can pretty much look at just go look at one of the Ford, like Bronco or the Illuminator or whatever, and look at the amount of space that Ford takes up at SEMA.
The presence that they command.
I mean, probably the biggest presence there.
I think so.
I mean, if you factor in the whole outdoor thing they did this time with the Broncos, right?
The Broncos, then they participated in the Hoonigan side of that as well.
They had the Mustang Drift.
They had the Mustang, all that stuff. Absolutely. You had Bronco Mountain, you had the Mustang Drift experience, and then the Hoonigan experience, all that stuff out in the parking lot. And so where we're going with this, guys, is Ford and Honda both made an announcement that they are not going to be they will be at the show, but they will not be at that level. Ford explained that in their decision to do this, they said that they are now refining their approach to the annual SEMA show to better reach and highlight how customers can personalize their Ford vehicles today and tomorrow. Our new approach showcases our winning portfolio of cars, trucks, and SUVs, and the comprehensive catalog of Ford performance parts and accessories that customers can purchase online from their local Ford dealer. They go on to say that they'll still have a presence there, but instead of our traditional displays, which, guys, if you go back and watch all of our previous years in November, you can go November 2019, 2020, of course, was virtual, and then 2021, last year, tons of videos, and like Keith said, it's in the SEMA playlist. You'll see how big of a presence those guys had there. But instead of their traditional displays, they look forward to showcasing their winning portfolio of vehicles and select displays at the show and digitally online, and they will share more details closer to SEMA. Now, Keith and I will do our due diligence. We will also share this information with you, our listeners, as this information becomes available, and be prepared, because whatever is there, guarantee you the Parts Counter Gurus, Keith and I, will be covering that baby. As hopefully, do you think maybe Jay Leno might just show up in one of their smaller booths? Maybe
I don't think he can stay away. Like, he's there every year for
somebody. He'll probably be there. Period for any reason. But let me. This is something that was also said. Due to a change in corporate strategy, Ford and Honda will not be displaying at the 2022 SEMA show. Now, Honda says, they didn't mention anything about Acura, so we'll see if Acura's there, which would be cool to see if that 2023, what is it, an NSX is supposed to be potentially there. I would love to see that if it is, and if it is, again, we'll bring it to you. And again, SEMA goes on to say that they appreciate their long-time support, and while many of us are going to miss their participation at this year's show, we're excited to see the show take on a new look in Central Hall. SEMA will continue to collaborate with both Ford and Honda on various SEMA programs, such as tech transfer and measuring sessions in 2022 and beyond. So there you go.
All right, so I think I'm reading in between the lines here. Let me see if I can translate this for our audience. First of all, the Honda thing is less of a big deal because Honda was back in a corner last year. They didn't have a very big booth. They tried to focus on the overlanding capabilities of a couple of their vehicles. Smart. Because that's where it's at SEMA. Everybody, the overland crowd is huge. But it was kind of like not, I mean, we did go back there, but at some point we were kind of like, well, I guess we ought to, at least just say we visited Honda. It's just not that big of a... I don't think it'll be missed as much as Ford will. No.
I don't either.
Ford is huge. They're not just right smack dab in the middle of the show floor. They were also, like we said, outside in various places.
Everywhere. Yep. Not only that, though. I mean, remember the video? We shot a video, guys. Go check it out on our YouTube channel over at youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus. And it was the Broncos of SEMA that we shot, where we went around and pointed out every single Bronco, full-size Bronco that we possibly could, and still didn't cover all of them. But I think we were up to around 50, weren't we, or something like that? Or
it was more than that. It was in the 70s, more than that? I think. Yeah.
But it was so cool. But so that's how big of a presence Ford has. And then in 2019, when the Bronco had not really been revealed yet, Keith and I were looking around at all the restored Ford Broncos that were sponsored by Ford as well.
Right.
And Jay Leno had revealed an old vintage Ford Bronco at that show, which kind of teased. If you'll go back and listen to that podcast and or any of those videos, Keith and I, we thought we got the clues. The clues were being dropped that Bronco was going to look like the old Bronco. It was going to pay homage to it, and it did. So that was pretty cool for that. Well, I'm with you. I wonder what they'll replace outside with. I mean, the kiddie rides. I like to call them the kiddie rides. That's the adult rides that were out there. Wonder what they will replace that with.
There has been a scramble, and there may still be one going on. You can bet on that.
Right.
So here's what I think. I think even though SEMA is huge, the expense of being an exhibitor is astronomical, especially for somebody like Ford, who takes up so much space. And Ford is looking at that marketing budget that they're spending at SEMA every year, and they're going, we can spend this elsewhere. But that's basically what they're saying in that press release. We can spend this money elsewhere and get more results, more focused results. How many cars do you think are sold at SEMA? Like, how many, because a vendor is there, automobiles? Now, I'm not talking about aftermarket accessories. I'm talking about Ford and GM selling vehicles because they were at SEMA.
No, I don't think so. I just don't. I don't think that was. If anything, if you recall any of the shows that we've attended and any of the shows that I've attended years prior to us starting this show, it was always about what else can we sell you once you've purchased our vehicle. So the add-ons, the Ford accessories, which was huge. We featured a video on that last year,
and they may continue to do that, right?
I think they will. I think that's the sector that they're going to focus on at that show, because that really is what that show is.
So data mining is huge nowadays. Data mining is basically you know, like Jay jokes, like you go online and you buy diapers, and then, these companies grab your information and they then market to you, and they sell your information to other companies about your interests. This is why, the EU tried to pass a law. Now we all have these cookie notices on websites, and they're basically telling you they're grabbing all your information. And they can use third-party trackers to follow you around, Jay. Like if you go to Ford.com, they can continue to follow you after you leave Ford's website to see where else you go and what else you buy.
That was just so wrong.
Now this isn't a Ford thing. I'm not trying to hang this on Ford, right?
No, it's available information, and they're going to take advantage of it while they can. I can't blame them. It helps them.
Ford they're going to do what Apple did a decade and a half ago. They're going, hey man, there used to be a thing called Macworld. Do you remember Macworld? Big expo in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they would basically jam all of their big press release events into that one yearly event. And Steve Jobs was still around, and at some point he went, we're not doing this anymore. They built their own media relations center. They announce what they want, when they want to the public. Think about it. How many times have you and I come on here on this very program and talked about, did you see the latest Ford, like Jim Farley doing some media event, right?
Yes. That happened like a week ago, where and we're going to get into that a little bit later on here in the show, so make sure you stay tuned.
So why then spend all the money at SEMA because it's a captive audience? Those people are there, and yes, SEMA is big, but you're going to reach way more people through your online. I mean, if the COVID lockdowns taught us nothing else, it's that we have an online audience that we can reach without ever leaving our homes, right?
Yes. I think what you're going to see, and I'm going to say it here first, you can mark this down. We'll revisit it with Bert maybe in a couple of years.
I hate to say I told you so.
But the SEMA show itself has to change with the changing times. And they're going to have to figure out ways to keep that robust. for the exhibitors.
Right.
And exhibitors are learning they can create content. They can stream live without having to fly a large group of people and equipment and product to these shows. My thought on this is that how SEMA may rectify any issues that they could potentially have from a Ford pulling out or a GM pulling out would be allowing, other than invite only to the show and charge a fee to get in to recoup some of the financial losses. Now, PRI did that last year. For the first time in the performance racing industry's show history.
And coincidentally, they just opened a new...
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure those weren't related. Go ahead.
Not at all. But the reason why they did this is because of the financial losses that they took by not having that show during the pandemic. So they offered up memberships, levels of memberships, which I became a PRI member. Now, I was a PRI member by default because I belonged to an organization that was. But once you are no longer with an organization that exhibits, the only way in is through membership. And so I chose to join because I love the performance racing industry show. I love what they do for that sector of our industry. It's very important. SEMA is also obviously in charge, or they govern. They are the governing body for the performance racing industry, I do believe. So they're connected. And I do believe that SEMA will learn something from PRI, which is, buying memberships, have a membership-only day, or allowing people to have levels of membership, which gets you into specific areas, almost like Disney World back in the day, where you could only get on certain rides with the A tickets. But boy, if you bought the E tickets, man, you were getting on Space Mountain and all this other stuff, right? So, yeah, the change is obvious with SEMA right now. And I think Ford has to recognize their own challenges ahead of them, but they also recognize other things that they can focus their capital on. Again, live streaming events. Yeah. They can do this anytime. They can have a SEMA show any day of the week that they want to from their headquarters.
You know what I think is a win-win? Mm-hmm. I think if I'm on the board of SEMA, right, and I'm trying to solve this problem, because this won't be the last time they have to deal with a situation like this. Ford and Honda are just the two big ones right now. This is what I think I do. I focus more on the trend of social media, and I start having live stream events and celebrity mix-ups and getting social media personalities, maybe like us, or you get like an Adam Carolla, or you get, Jay Leno, or you get... even some of the younger car live streamers out there like Stradman or whatever, right? And you get them at those events, and you're serving both audiences. You're serving the in-person crowd that's there to look, feel, and touch, and you're serving the, in this case, the YouTube crowd that wants to see what it's like to take a ride in that Bronco with a monster truck driver like Todd. But see, nobody live stream. I mean, we covered that stuff, but... and maybe if SEMA's listening, this is an opportunity for us to work together with them, because if you don't do this, the show will die. It's just a matter of time. You've got to get that. You've got to meet the audience where they are, and right now they are on social media.
Yes,
right?
That absolutely correct, Keith. Well said. I think that's why you're also seeing PRI and SEMA both asking for content creators to come in.
Yeah,
and they feature you. So it's a changing environment in the world of SEMA and performance racing industry, more geared towards the online presence, and it works.
I mean, and they've got some spin-off TV shows, that they do. Mm-hmm. Do some of that stuff there. I mean, it's hard to pull all that off in a week, but do what you can. Film an episode, do something. Right?
Yes, and speaking of the SEMA board of directors that you had just mentioned, there is an election that is coming up for new board members. Someone who I've known for a while. I don't have a personal relationship with him. However, I have done business with Norris Marshall, who is the owner of Blueprint Engines. And This guy is very knowledgeable, obviously, and has just done so much for the production engine rebuilding or engine business in general, and has a lot to offer the SEMA organization. So if you're able to vote, make sure you cast your vote for
now,
Norris, and good luck with that.
You have to be a member, right? You have to be a SEMA member to vote. Okay.
Yes, you do.
So there you go. So you folks out there that are members of SEMA, consider that. I looked at the competition there, and casting a vote for Norris would not be a bad choice.
No, not at all. And I'd like to give a thanks to Chuck Lynch for giving us all the information on that. And Chuck Lynch, if anybody knows Norris well, it's definitely Chuck over at AERA. And he is a huge fan of Norris as well as a good friend of his. So good luck to you, Norris. Wish you well with that. So SEMA will be for the better with you. So there you go.